Hey guys, thanks for joining. If this is your first time checking out this channel live, we're working on a flatbed for the second gen Tacoma. And this flatbed has a few features. Alright, this is just a rough and dirty CAD model for the bed itself. This is the fine details on the rear bumper. I have most of the rear bumper already well, I don't want to say most of it, but I got a good amount of the rear bumper fabbed up, so I'll pull it so you guys can see it. So right now, this is how much we got done on that rear bumper. And we have a few modes for this this flatbed idea, right? So this is like the flatbed mode, and then let me hide this. I'll show you the camper mode, where the bedside storage is removable. Hide this, and this is like the wheeling mode, where we have a tailgate almost, and this whole thing will be enclosed up top too. So right now, this is I think the 80-90% shape that I'm gonna go for this bob bed design. And I'll suppress that for now, but to kind of integrate everything, I'm trying to figure out essentially how to have those side boxes removable. And when I was running, I found a trailer on the street, and I saw something like this where it had vertical tubes mounted, and there's a steel bar that goes across. So what will happen is, like, this will act like a fence post. You have the side boxes basically either going in from the top, and then it'll be fixated vertically, and then we'll pin it through the middle here. Like, the pinning idea was not on the trailer that I saw, but I figured I got a bunch of 2¼ inch square tube, so might as well use that. And I'll just use my plasma cutter to put a hole through it, right? So we can use essentially like hitch pins to fixate whatever we're mounting vertically. And then this bar is just to work like a tie down. So the other thought too would be something like a hook system. So those storage boxes can kind of hook on this long bar here. But yeah, this is part of the brainstorming phase. So this is essentially how it looks like so far. If you guys have any questions on this stream, just leave it in the comments below. And we'll also go through some questions on the channel itself. I'll go through some of the, I guess, recent and old comments on my videos. So I'll answer that as we go through some of this design work. So it looks like we got 9 people currently on watching. It's going up and down, but yeah, if you guys just joined, we got this back side of the truck. We'll have multiple modes. This is flatbed mode. Then we'll have a camper mode where everything kind of just bolts on, and then we'll have it's almost like a 4-wheeling mode, and those bed sides will stay on, and then we have this back tailgate that can open and close. But yeah, I know we're trying to accomplish a lot here, but I might extend these square tube ideas probably all the way to the face here too. The only thing is, yeah, it'll start interfering, so might have to do a mini version on the front. So Let's see. And I already saw in the model this part sticking out and kind of interfering, so we'll see if we can kind of push it back. All right, so I'll go back into the sketch here. And we'll remove this relation so we can kind of push this whole thing back. So we'll also add a guideline here. Put this as parallel to this line. And we'll make this and this point basically coincident, so oops, I think I'm fucked up on that one. We'll just make these two points here so they're touching. There we go. And it looks like we're hitting error. Yeah, something got fucked. Let's fix that. Oh, I see. I forgot to change this to a construction line, so the program got kind of screwed. Okay, so that makes it so that this face is basically in the same plane as this edge here. So when we go put it in like the wheeling mode setup, we don't have that that square tube sticking out. Hey, Isaac Salzberg, what's going on, bro? Thanks for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. So yeah, so as you can see, the that square tube is no longer interfering with that angle, because yeah, we want this face to be, I mean, this is like the quick and dirty model, that's why it's like 3 different faces, but this all should be parallel, and we kind of don't want this thing sticking out too, so let's fix that. Let's hide this, and I think we can fix this with a chamfer. So I see your question there, Isaac. I haven't calculated the weight of this overall setup, because remember, one of the things I did was I chopped off probably 12 to 14 inches off the back, so we lose some of the stock weight already. And that hitch cross beam that was on there, plus part of the frame, I think that weighed like maybe 40 pounds, 50 pounds. So we're starting with a loss of 50 pounds, I guess, 40, 50 pounds from the back. And then we're adding all this freaking steel in the back here. And spitballing estimates, I mean, I'm thinking maybe between the 60, 70 pound winch plus, I don't know, maybe 100 pounds of additional steel. Like we're looking at a plus 70 pounds right now on just the rear bumper portion. So that's my estimate. I can always pull the weight data once. It'll take me a little bit of time because SolidWorks, this is all just essentially just shapes right now. I didn't assign a material to this yet, but once I assign a material, I'll let you guys know, so that this will have a pretty accurate weight on this whole rear setup here. But yeah, this the flatbed portion, I mean, I think the stock bed for the Tacoma's probably about 200 pounds. So, like, remember, we're taking off the stock all these stock materials, and then we're adding all this new stuff. So there's going to be a plus minus to this stuff. Isaac, looked like you got another question. Let me read that out loud so everybody can see what's going on. Trying not to be a keyboard warrior. Lol, but do you think that would either rattle if it's loose, or if it's too tight, would it get seized up and would dirt and possibly rust? So, are you talking about like the slots here? Or are you talking about like the overall assembly going onto the back of the truck? Or are you talking about, I guess, the rear bumper here? So, but I guess I'll just shoot off the hip in general. Like this rear bumper, this is all like welded completely to the frame. So there's going to be no rattle on that rear bumper. And this is what it looks like so far. So you have a bit of an idea. So like that rear bumper is not going to rattle. This bed itself, this bed will be fixated onto, hold on, hit an error here. So, all right. So the bed will be fixated on the stock mounting points, right? We'll screw these into the threaded holes on the frame itself. So those fixation points on that flatbed is going to be fixed solid right onto the frame. So the frame itself is not going to rattle, right? But if you're talking about all this stuff that's getting mounted onto the bed itself, so that's part of, I guess, the engineering that we're kind of figuring out, because this is like the art piece of it, right? We're adding and we're subtracting, and we're just throwing out ideas and then removing ideas that don't seem like a good one to execute. So yeah, if I go straight with a square tube going into the smaller square tube, of course it's going to rattle because it's just pinned in there. But there's like mitigation to handle that, right? Instead of a hitch pin, we can do a screw, and on the mating tube that goes in here, we can put a nut, right? So the screw will go all the way in and then tightened up against the inside here. And yeah, of course, you'll have dirt and shit going in there. So that's like part of the engineering we'll have to take into account. So that's why this is also a vertical tube, so that if we remove whatever we're mounting on it, we can at least hose it down and wash the shit downwards. Because anything that's flat and cupped, like that stuff will basically take on a lot of mud and dirt and shit. And especially during the winter, you'll get the salt spray stuck in those little areas. So that's why we're trying to have things kind of vertical so it drains downwards. So hopefully that answers your question. And then there's a few other ideas too when it comes to preventing things from rattling, right? So I can do like a hook design. So it'll hook basically on top of this this steel bar, and then we can somehow tighten it up with like those I don't want to say hose clamps. It's almost like a, the hell's the proper word for it? It's almost like a compression latch, right? It compresses up against there, so there's no rattle. So yeah, I mean, these are all part of the brainstorming. So what we're trying to figure out here is at least fixating the side boxes. And I don't know if you were here a little earlier, like this steel bar that goes across is gonna work as like a tie down. So in flatbed mode, we can tie down shit basically anywhere around this point, and it gives us a little bit of freedom. So yeah, and if you guys have any ideas with like fixating like the side boxes on there, like making it easy to install and to remove, like throw them in the chat. Because with engineering, right, you got to throw out as much possible ideas out there and then just slowly remove them as they don't work. So let's go through some questions real quick. Actually, I'll pull up my YouTube studio. Actually pulled that on here so you guys kind of see some of the questions too. I mean, I'm just gonna go randomly down the list. Something that'll. Okay, so here's a one from Rasulis. I have a 2018 Tacoma 6-speed automatic tranny. Would this largely be the same tranny and procedure for a replace? A bad mechanic overfilled my tranny and now it is damaged and will need a replacement. So to answer that question, this was with regards to the transmission removal installation when I did the whole clutch replacement series. So that work, I mean, the drivetrain is, I don't want to say simple, but it's all kind of basic, right? You have the engine, transmission, transfer case, then it splits to the 2 drive shaft. And if you're going to pull the transmission on the automatic, it's similar steps. You just shooting off the top of my head, right? You got to remove the 2 drive shafts. And then anything that you have that's connected to the transmission itself and the transfer case, like essentially connectors and such, you got to undo them. And then you'll also have to undo the shifter knob. So you'll have to go back into the cabin, undo it from the top, and then tilt that whole transmission and transfer case assembly downwards so you can access all of the mating bolts on the transmission to the engine. And sometimes, I'm not sure about the automatic transmission or if the starter is mounted on the transmission or on the motor side. So yeah, that's mostly the same. So you just kind of figure out as you're undoing the bolts there. Okay, so I got a few more comments from Isaac. Okay, looking forward to seeing the numbers. And yeah, the slots. Okay, so hopefully that, I guess that answers your question, bro. Looks like I also undid my work from earlier. Let's see if we can Control Z on this. Ah, shit. Alright, well, we'll have to kind of redo this. So we'll have to go back, edit that sketch, and fix the friggin' thing. I should have hit Control Save. This is the annoying part. So again, undo this. I'll push that back, and then we'll throw this guideline on here, making sure that's parallel, linear, I think is the word. And then we'll get these two to merge. There we go. The same thing as earlier. Switch this to construction line. And then chamfer this. Chamfer it to about, let's see, 1/4 inch. Boom. There we go. That's fixes that. And I'm thinking the same thing for the front side of this flatbed too, we'll do a similar idea. I could probably actually push this one further back. So Isaac Salzberg, love it. Thanks for the response, man. Yeah, of course, bro. So the point of these streams is to kind of show you guys some of the thought process that goes into designing this stuff, right? Like all the freaking Molly panels that's sold in the store, it went through a bunch of iteration of loading it on this SolidWorks program and then kind of knocking out like bad ideas. So, I mean, there's a few more, a little bit more work also involved because I do have the rear Molly panel. I'm connecting that with that overhead rear, so we'll have like a full Molly cage. Because I don't know, I think like Molly panels are basically like the modular systems to carry your shit, and sometimes like you don't want to carry winter gear when it's fucking hot as balls outside, right? So, but yeah, I kind of digressed a little bit. That's why same thing with this flatbed, right? Like if I'm gonna be hauling random furniture and stuff, I don't want my toolboxes getting in the way, you know? So having it completely flat with the sides open, you can just wrap like something that's odd shaped, wrap it all the way around, you know, with your ratchet straps or whatever tie down system that you have. So actually, you know what, I think, you know, let's sketch that up while we're at it. We'll push this all the way back. Isaac Salzberg reminds me a lot of the Aussie trucks flatbed style. Oh yeah, the Ute beds. That's actually part of the inspiration with this build. I'll show you the picture that I was kind of working off of the other day. So the other day, as in yesterday, I have I took this picture off of like a Facebook post somewhere, and then I was like, yeah, this Ute style flatbed is pretty sick, because like you can also put like fencing around the bed itself. So if you're just hauling dirt and shit, like that's not exactly gonna lay flat, gravel, sand, or whatever, you can put the fence in, and it'll hold it much nicer. And it does also have these slots here too on the side, so I think you can put like it works as both a tie down, and you can put like a table, right? You slot something in there, and then it sticks outside. So yeah, I guess let's get back to this portion of the work here. I'll push this one back. Make that maybe like halfway. What if we go all the way back? That's gonna end up touching the back of the cabin already, so we can't go that far back. But I guess we can shorten this piece. So here's what we'll do instead. Had another error. So let's fix this. We'll do it differently. We'll just cut a hole all the way through, so it kind of mimics the idea. So we'll get this parallel with this line. Parallel collinears. So, all right way to do it. Do it that way. Match that up. And I'll center this too. So that will be, I'll make it parallel with this. Oops. So Isaac just asked another question. How did I start learning SolidWorks? Just watching YouTube videos. So I actually fell in love with SolidWorks when I went to engineering school. So SolidWorks was one of the programs that they taught at I think it was solid modeling class. It's back in like 2007, so that was a while ago. I took the basics of it, and like I've always loved the art of CAD modeling. So when they taught it to us, it's just basic shapes and then extrusions, and then once you have the basic shapes, then you start learning some of the other features like lofting, revolving, and all that stuff. I mean, these words might be going over a lot of your heads, since it's very specific to the SolidWorks. But yeah, a lot of the stuff, the more complicated stuff, I did have to go through YouTube as I was trying to figure out how to make, like curvature based on multiple lines. Like that stuff gets super complicated. Let's see. But yeah, like SolidWorks is probably one of the best, if not the best, CAD programming that I've used. Just because it's just so quick and easy, like you don't have to keep creating multiple reference lines. Like I was using Pro E at one point, AutoCAD. I was using Fusion 360, and if I had to rank them, right, SolidWorks is the best and the easiest, and then you have Fusion 360. It's not bad, but like the worst is definitely AutoCAD. And if you guys are interested in learning SolidWorks, you can actually get SolidWorks for, I think it was only like $80 a year for a student. It's like a student learning pass. So if you guys want to do that, it's cheap. You should definitely do it. And what's great too about SolidWorks, when I was learning it, was there's you can do like a stress analysis. So I mean, it requires a lot more hours into making the model, basically to the precise measurements. But like it's so cool. Like once you load like weights and different forces, it'll tell you how the part will flex. Alright, looks like this one's kind of jacked up here. Yeah, but whatever, I guess that's just part of the modeling. This isn't exactly going to be the final final design for this thing. So I'll make these two equal. And I think that should be enough to cut through. So if you cut this through, yeah, and there we go. So we cut through all of that. Now we can also put that same tie down bar. And that's weird. Oh yeah, that's right. There's no walls on this. So Isaac Salberg. Oh, dude, that is sick. Yeah, definitely. Like SolidWorks is probably the best. I take you've seen their lifestyle setup. Yeah, dude. So that's also part of the inspiration, right? I like their lifestyle setup. Like that was essentially why I shaped this the way I did. So here's the rough model for this, but then pulling Dirt Lifestyle's, I'll show you his flatbed design on the screen so you kind of see it too. So, right, like that's freaking sick. That's why I have a taper on the corner here, because it makes your turning radius much tighter. So I really like that design. I'll pull the other model again. We'll go back to editing this a little bit later. Let's hide this. Save all this time, and then we'll show the wheeling mode, like the rough shape, right? So we got this taper. It's a little bit tighter than Nate's at Dirt Lifestyle. That's where that idea came from, right? And his actually sticks out pretty far in terms of past the rear hitch. So let's see if I can pull that photo. I mean, you can kind of see here, right? It tapers upward, but he chopped, I think, like 18 inches off the back, but this thing sticks out past that. Probably kind of tell here that cross beam is right there, probably parallel to this. Let me see, it's parallel. I probably should have pulled this here. Yeah, parallel to this shock mount. So that's where his frame is, and then this bed sticks out probably another like 10 inches, 12 inches. So that's why I kind of went flush instead on the back end here. So I have at least a much shorter bed. And Isaac Salzberg, yeah. I still haven't really figured out the live stream. So you're mentioning the chat is delayed about 2 to 3 minutes from when I send the message to when you see it. Yeah. So also the thing is, I have my screen set up, so like all the stuff that I'm modeling is what you guys see, and then all your chat is on the lower right side of my screen. So sometimes I see it move on the corner of my eye, and then there might be a little bit of a delay on my end because like I'm kind of concentrated on SolidWorks itself, and I won't be able to read it like right away. So yeah, that's Dirt Lifestyles is one of the inspiration. Like, and I like the fact that his tailgate is also smaller, right? Because like the tailgate on the stock Tacoma is probably about 4 feet wide, which is the whole width of this. So if you have that tailgate super wide, we can't exactly do this tapered design. So hence this whole section here will be like removable to allow us to still do like the whole camper mode situation that we got here. We'll figure that out all later. So yeah, let's get back to the this main model. All right, I thought I saved this friggin' thing. Looks like it canceled out all of the work that we just did. That's not a friggin' pain. Let's see if we can rebuild it. Yeah, it looks like it didn't save. What a fucking pain in the ass. So that's I guess that's part of the issues with doing solid modeling. That's I mean, you can see I'll shift this a little bit more here. Hold on. Trying to share screen while also moving the stuff. See that there's a lot on this assembly. It's a lot of parts, so that kind of lags the my computer too. Plus, like, we got multiple iterations of this this camper, not camper, this flatbed here. So yeah, like the more parts you throw at this thing, the more the program will also start lagging. So yeah, I think it's already 6:38, guys. I actually have to continue packing, but I figured I'd check in, let you guys know a little bit more of the progress. I'm headed over to Vermont tomorrow, so I'm already like probably about 60% packed. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions on this build, I'll try to get online tomorrow so you guys can also ask me anything while I'm out there. But yeah, I'll aim for 6 p.m. streaming every day. I'll probably start with maybe 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah, like I'll have to drop off now this evening. And Isaac, dude, thanks for joining, and thanks for all the great questions you got there. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow.